Yesterday I was considering, and this is a consideration that I had for very long, because I'm listening to some people talking about walking and some people talking about hiking, and it is very interesting to me how much going up in terms of like reaching a point on top of a mountain, it makes people resonate as they really need that. And I understand that. I understand that people needs a point to reach. I'm very happy about this idea of the circle because there is no competition. There is no competition with myself first and with the others later. Because the very funny part of riding a circle is that when you arrive at the end, you get back to the beginning. But it's not the same you. And this idea of the change in your perspective and also in the change in your own way of being, it to me it makes a big difference. I try to explain it with an example that will become most likely part of my exhibition at the end of this project. I want to buy two hoodies or two pullovers, and I want to bring one pullover with me because I might use it, and one I want to leave it in Reykjavik. So apparently the two pullovers are identical, but one is staying in Reykjavik and the one is doing the trip with me. So after 3 months, there is one pullover which is a different experience of everything, of the weather, of time, of climate, of the environment, of the use that I did. Or even though I think that at the end they will still look very much alike. But what is fascinating for me is that when you will look the two objects next to each other, even though they look identical, one has a story to tell. There's a story behind the one that will come with me, and the other is just a pullover. And I want to introduce this concept of time, space, and how objects have their own stories because we bring them with us, and to see if we can really sparkle some light in some people's idea that objects are not just objects, but they really bring the experience with us. And if you can imagine, it happens to us a lot of times when you have a preferred piece of cloth that you like and you bring it to an adventure and maybe you forget in the closet for, I don't know, 10 years. And when you see it again, you say, oh, this was the one I brought to this specific trip. And that will trigger you memories. I'm really excited to look forward to objects that were in the past and tells me about another me. And in this way, it allows me to understand also the way that it comes to me in the last 20 years. I still have one very ugly hat that I bought in Scotland, one of these almost touristic ones with written Scotland on it. But every time I watch it, I smile because I remember the effort to going around and making my road around Scotland on foot the first time, which was terrible, by the way. I think I already mentioned it several times in different recordings because I was not ready. And the reality is that most of the time we are never ready. We can study, and it's very important to get ready and prepared to what is coming. But the reality is that you will never be ready for something you have never experienced before. And that is part of the excitement, because it is a kind of projecting. You have to project yourself in time and space and see what happens when at the end of this long projection you arrive to the place, and see how much of it is as you expected and how much is not. This is also one of the reasons why I don't want to plan too much when I go traveling, because it's killing a bit the idea of surprise. Even though on a trip of 3 months alone there will be a lot of moments for which I will be surprised and completely astonished, I guess, by nature and by what I will see, but almost is the experience of it. I was having this conversation this week with a friend about the fact that in summer there will be a lot of tourists in Iceland, and yeah, of course I'm one of them for some reason. But the good news is, even if I go to a very popular spot, people after 6 o'clock they will go home or do the campsite or somewhere else, and the place will be empty. And because I don't have a place to be, if I really like the place and I don't want to experience it just with people, I can find a spot to sleep nearby and experience it in the dark or in the evenings, and then in the morning before everyone else is coming. And this already happened several times in different locations, and this makes me smile, not because it's a thing that you need to be alone in a place, but for sure there is a different energy when you are experiencing things for yourself and you are not overwhelmed with overcrowded place. I got it when I was in China, that I went to see this huge giant Buddha that is carved in the mountain. And unfortunately the place is astonishing, but the experience is terrible, because you just walk with 10,000 other people and you are so close to it because the Buddha is by a river, so you don't have space to experience it for far away. And at the end what happens is it's a very nice place, but I had nicer experiences in less known places and less famous places. I remember once I was in Vietnam and I went to a very famous spot, I think it was a temple, and I arrived at around 7 o'clock. Vietnam life starts very early, but they were like not even ready to get me in, so I had to wait for them to open the door. And when I did it, I was alone, and I remember me taking very nice pictures in a place that is anyway not isolated, and we are not talking a place that is far away or is not well known. It's just to choose the better moment to experience and enjoy if you have the time. And this is also why I decided to have this 3 months project, because apart from meeting people and organizing the project itself, I want to have the opportunity to take it slow as I need. Because I remember in Norway I was running, I think I haven't made a lot of day tours. I was kind of scared that I will not make it. Of 1,000 kilometers in 1 month means is like 33 kilometers a day, and I never did it before, and I was like, okay, no, stop here, let's just go on and walk more. And when I realized that was not necessary, it was a bit too late, because I already created a rhythm, and so I seen some small stuff but not crazy places. And also in that specific trip, the part of the map of Norway that I chose was a very isolated from the big places, the famous places that people have on their map.